little creature.
Well, we have the cutest little baby elephant that's just come from Treehouse Dam. So it's just sitting with mom. They're completely separate from a herd. So there's no other sign of a herd in this area, which means that I think that this little one is fairly new. I wonder, it's a little bit wobbly on its feet. It's still kind of trying to work things out. Mom is guiding it along. You can see it's kind of falling over a little bit as it tries to move, and ears are going full tilt to try and cool itself down. It is super cute. I haven't seen a baby Ellie this small in a long time, and like I say, it's so cool. This little one has kind of just come out of the mud. It's been obviously mud wallowing with mom. Mom's been showing it how to stay nice and cool in hot conditions like this, and what I was saying about checking the water holes is paying off. This is exactly what you would see normally at hot days like this, is big animals, so elephants and buffalo, spending a lot of time around water to try cool themselves down, and it's vitally important that mom teaches this little baby how to be able to keep cool and to be able to stay cool in hot weather like this. Ultimately, this little baby, I can tell you right now, has never experienced summer before, so I reckon it's probably only a few days old, given how wobbly it is and how it's trying to stay up with mom the whole time. Now I'm going to just sneak a little bit further forward so that we can keep up with it, but I don't want to stress it too much. So once it gets into a little thicket, we're going to leave it there, because at the end of the day, we don't want too much of a stress put on her. Now, I believe a lot of you are oohing and ahhing over the cuteness. It is a cuteness overload, that is for sure. This little one is super sweet, and it's amazing when you see them. Look, it even still fits under its mom. It can walk in and out completely, and you see what it's doing? It's using its mother for shade, so it knows that mom, being a large object, can provide shade, and that's why when they're born, they are able to fit underneath their mothers. They are able to get under, even in the hottest part of the day when there's not too much of a shadow cast, she can still get underneath, or he, depending if it's a little male or female, and hide under the mom's body for a little bit of shade and to stay nice and cool. But it is definitely a tiny individual. You can see very wobbly and unsure on its feet. It's not able to actually be able to kind of keep itself together, and I think that this little elephant was born probably overnight last night, because the thing is yesterday we have had no elephants around here anyway. Yesterday there was a massive herd of elephants here. They were very uneasy. Their demeanor was that of something concerning them. I was parked very far away from them, and they were heads up, ears out. The whole herd seemed to be unsettled. Now we come to Treehouse Dam the following day, and there's a little baby elephant that is still wobbling and no sign of the rest of the herd. So I think this little one was born yesterday, and I think that's why it's only 24 hours old. So, Francis from Israel, you think you can see the umbilical cord? Well, that would make sense. If it was born yesterday, most certainly will still have that attached, but it is just the cutest little thing in the whole world. I'm going to try and just catch up, because there's a really big tree there that I think they might sit under and just chill in the shade for a little bit, and maybe mom will start feeding. So I'm just going to try and sneak up in there. It's not too thick. I'm not going to hit any trees or anything like that and disturb her too much. Ultimately, if I see her carrying on moving, I'll leave her, but it's just such a cute little animal to start our safari. And what good luck. We've had the most incredible week this week with baby animals. It's been just the most fantastic time. We've had baby hippo, baby crocodiles, plover babies. We've had obviously Shadow's cub, elephant baby. It's all happening. It's just been the best time, and that's why I love this time of the year, is because you do see all of these baby animals. I even forgot our little impala lamb, the first impala lamb of the season as well. So it's just been an absolutely kind of amazing week as we've discovered so many new little characters that have joined our Safari Live family. Now let's see if we can just sneak in here. Mom seems to be absolutely relaxed with us. She's in no way turned towards me. There's been no issue with her kind of facing me, ears out or anything like that. So she seems to be unperturbed, which is good. You always need to watch mom's reaction, particularly when you approach a tiny little baby. And mom is right here in the shade, just like I thought she might be. I thought she would get into this situation where there's a big jackalberry and the perfect shade for a little one. Hello, little one. Welcome to the world. How cute is that? You can see it's underneath mom. It's just working things out. A little bit of a sniff every now and then. It's trying to use its little trunk as well. You can imagine this trunk must be so foreign for a little one. If you think about us as children and as babies, we have no idea how to even walk or talk or coordinate ourselves. We rely on mom to feed us. Yet this little one, who's got more muscles in the trunk than in our entire body, is still able to move, suckle, feed, kind of bath and mud bathe, and yet it's still trying to work out the trunk as well. So it's just incredible how they're able to do all of this with so many muscles that they look for, or that they have. Absolutely unbelievable. It's so cute. Emil, the survival rate for baby Ellies is very good. What the percentage is, I'm not quite sure over the Kruger Park system, but I can tell you that it is probably in the high, I would say 80%. Very seldom do you find dead baby Ellies. The only time you get it is if there's been maybe some sort of complication with the delivery of that baby that maybe has caused an issue, or if there's been a really bad drought, you will sometimes get a situation where you do get stillborn babies. It does happen from time to time. In fact, actually yesterday there was a stillborn giraffe on Buffalo's Hook, and I'm sure it's still got to do with the sort of lack of nutrients that has been around over this last dry period. But very, very seldom do we see stillborn Ellies. It's not the most common thing. Elephants don't suffer from too many diseases. They generally are very good at finding food and water. Even in the harshest times, you'll find an elephant will be able to dig, it will be able to get roots, it will be able to get tubers, it will strip bark, leaves, grass, so it's able to still function even in the dry periods, and it will dig for water as well if water is not available. So very seldom do we see dead elephants. And then on top of that, you see a situation where there's very few predators of a baby elephant. So things like jackals, hyenas, lion, leopard, these kind of things have got to get through mom, and mom is going to seriously be defensive of a tiny baby like that. I'm actually impressed at how relaxed she is with us. She's completely unperturbed. She's busy feeding, which is, as soon as you see an elephant feeding, you know that you're generally okay. When they're feeding like that, they are comfortable with your presence. You can see she actually hasn't even faced us once. She's been moving around with the little calf, and I'm sure she's enjoying the bit of shade that this jackalberry is offering. Now you see the little one is kind of constantly in and amongst her feet and around her front feet, and is watching her all the time. It's kind of checking out how is mom doing things, and that's how they learn. So it's an animal that learns a lot from its parents and learns by sight, and so it'll stop and it'll watch and it'll play and it'll use its trunk a little bit until it's able to work those kind of things out, which is super cool. But what a special way to start our day. Now, I know a lot of you are saying that it is a great birthday present, but I feel like I've been spoilt this whole week with birthday presents, and many new Scorpios in the world this week, well, especially in the natural world. Like I say, we've got Pebbles the plover, we've got our croc little babies, we've got little Boo the hippo, who's also a November baby, and now our little Ellie, and the Impala lamb as well. So we've had lots of tiny babies that have joined me, and it is a gift. I mean, to see something like this is incredibly special, not only to see it, but also to be able to spend time in the company of an elephant mother who's so trusting of us and is allowing us these views of this little baby is incredibly special. We're very fortunate to be able to spend time with animals like this and to be able to learn from them and watch them and kind of see her as she introduces her baby to the world and to show it around. And this will all be new areas for this baby, so she's taking it along slowly just to explore, and it's going to be showing it how to live, how to survive, and those kind of things are super special. Now I'm just going to try and go forward a little bit. You see what she's doing though, as she's walking, there's a lot of debris in this section here, and that debris is very, very good, because what happens is things grow underneath the debris, so she can move things away and she's able to then get food. Now Romit, the baby Ellie, will start feeding on its own when it reaches anywhere between sort of, I would say, 18 months and 2 years. They start to be able to feed by themselves. They're still supplemented by mom's milk up until 2 years. That's when they start to kind of wean off it. I have seen elephants that are older still suckling from mom, particularly if she has another calf. Then you'll find that some of the older ones will try and steal milk from time to time from their mom. But generally they are able to start feeding and are fairly self-sufficient already at 2 years. So it's a long way away from now that this little baby will be feeding by itself, but time will come. Or is it going to lie down? I think it might just lie down for us. Look, it's just putting its head down to the ground. Little legs are buckling a bit. Oh, there we go. Oh no, it's just been too long a day. It's too hot. That's just so cute. Now this little one will lie like this because it is a warm day and mom is right near the termite mound. It's shady, there's a little breeze blowing here. It is the perfect place to have a little rest. And little babies, when they're walking around, you can imagine it's difficult for them. Mom, you know, she's used to standing, she's been alive for many years, and this little one is now kind of come into this world, and it doesn't really, you know, it's trying to keep up with mom. It's exercising, but the legs are still not that strong, and trying to keep up with one of mom's steps is like taking 10 of her own, or his own, depending if it's a little boy or a girl. I can't see, it looks like a little boy. And so It's a tough life to keep up with mom, and so every now and then you will find them sleeping. And what you will also find is that this little baby, when it sleeps like that, mom will stay very, very close. They'll feed very close, and she'll, I think, probably try and move quite quickly today to catch up with the herd, which I'm hoping is not too far away. She'll then kind of smell and sniff and communicate. Remember, they have incredible communication that they're able to kind of get into, well, to talk to each other from big distances. And so she'll catch up with the herd. Once she's with the herd, you'll find this little baby might lie down, and the whole herd will actually stop and feed in that area and give a chance for that little baby to rest. And it looks like it's trying to suckle, so it's just trying to get some of that vitally nutrient-rich milk to be able to get the strength to carry on and keep moving. Paul, no. So I honestly have never, ever heard of a case of elephant triplets, and I'll tell you why. There's just, I don't think, enough space inside of a female elephant to have a triplets situation. I do know of twins. I have seen twins myself down in the south of the Sabi Sands. 2 elephants, same age, suckling from the same mother, and her protecting those 2 and always walking with those 2. So twins has happened. It's very seldom that twins do happen, but it has happened. Things like triplets, I doubt it's even possible. Remember that these elephants are massive at birth. They are huge. Already the female is under huge stress by having one of these calves. You can imagine 2, but 3 is just probably not possible. Their stomach will, well, they're not their stomach, but their cavities will not be able to hold such a large amount, and will not be able to have enough space really to sustain that. Also, to give enough nutrients to 3 of those babies at that size would just be almost impossible. And she doesn't have enough teats for it. She's only got 2 teats, which means that if she had 3, she's going to really struggle to be able to feed all 3 of those. But I'm super surprised at how relaxed this little baby is. I mean, a plane has just come over. It's probably the first time it's ever heard the plane, and it is not running, or it's not kind of flapping its ears or anything like that. It's taking its cue from mom, who's completely relaxed, which is just wonderful. Now, I know Senza doesn't have the best view of the little one, so I'm just going to slightly reposition myself, because we'll have a nice view if I just go forward a little bit, and we can just get around this little bush. But after they go from here, then I'm going to probably not spend too much more time with them, because I don't want to go through the thickets and annoy anybody in this process. But there we go. That's a little bit better. It does look like a little male from what I can see. It looks as though it's difficult, obviously, with male elephants and female elephants at a young age, because remember, little male elephants have internal testes, so not very easy to be able to tell. But it looks like a little male, and it looks like that little umbilical cord is still attached. So it was really good observation. It seems as though there's a small little part of it still there. How wonderful to see. Hello, little one. She must have given birth somewhere in this area, and that really explains a lot about yesterday's behavior with that herd. I remember getting back to camp last night, and I was saying it was super strange that the Ellies were so unrelaxed, and they were so kind of feisty, and they were, as I drove up, all of them were kind of huddled in small groups, and everybody was a little bit on the sort of aggressive side, or not aggressive side, but they were very showy. Their heads were up, ears were out. They didn't let me get anywhere near them. But it explains all of that behavior right now, because obviously when there's a new baby, there's a lot of communication that's going, and a lot of interesting things that are happening, and the whole herd's a bit freaked out because there'll be this new addition. There's scent of, blood and all kinds of other things. There's also noise from that female as she gives birth, and this new baby that's out, and so that unsettles the herd quite a bit. And they know then also that they have to be far more alert and far more defensive, because now there's a little baby amongst them. The opportunity for predators to come in and go at that baby is quite real. And so they've got to make sure that they protect this little one as a unit, and it's not just up to the mother. The whole herd will be very protective of this little one and make sure that it survives. And so yesterday's behavior is completely natural now, and makes so much more sense than what we saw, or than what I thought yesterday afternoon. So very cool to witness and to see that process between them. Now, I'm pretty sure this little one was born somewhere in this little vicinity, so in this drainage line area. There's nice shady spots that this mother would have had her baby, and would have had it kind of under some shady trees yesterday, or even overnight, like I said, and then she would have moved towards the water today just to rehydrate, also to introduce this little baby to water and cool it down. At the end of the day, it must be really overheating in hot weather like this. But you are just too cute, little one. I feel like you may have stolen the hearts of many out there already. It's going to be fairly easy actually to recognize this adult female as well, because she's got a missing left tusk, and she's also got a very big, deep, notched V out of her right ear. So we should be able to kind of recognize her. There you can see the V that I'm talking about and that missing left tusk. Those two combination should be able to recognize her. So we should be able to keep tabs on this little one over the next little bit and see if she actually hangs around here or if she's going to be fairly transient in her movements. Right, our little one is going to move off into the thickets. I'm not going to follow any further, but what we can do is send you all the way back to the Masai Mara with Scotty D, who I think is still driving around, and hopefully he's going to have a lot more luck than he's had over the past couple of days.
Rockstar, I believe you said, how do elephants keep cool? Elephants use their ears, they flap them to help get the heat away from their brain using the different veins and blood vessels. They also love to swim, absolutely love to swim, and they'll throw mud on themselves as well as throwing dust on themselves. How they keep themselves cool. Great question. Sorry, it's a little bit windy, but it's very warm. But the wind is feeling like a really, this sounds funny, like a really gentle caress over your face right now. It's just a perfect summer's afternoon, absolutely perfect. Chandra, did you see that little male? He's taking sticks and just throwing them around just because he can. Watch. Sorry, so I went from a very super calm moment to an absolute hysterical moment with this little male here. Or sorry, little female, excuse me. So, he's so indecisive. Do you see that? He can't really decide what he wants to do. Does he want to turn? Does he want to play? Again, very similar to human children. They'll play with each other, elephant calves, but then they'll also play by themselves. So you can only just imagine what he's thinking in his head there. He's trying to pick up, Mum's foot's in the way a little bit, but he's trying to pick up that little stick. I once watched elephants doing that with pebbles, picking them up, putting them in their mouths, and then throwing them out, and then picking them up, putting them in their mouths, throwing them out. There he's scratching himself now. So if we go down the road a bit, you can see the ones that were already drinking. So Luke, you're wondering if elephants can fend off a predator with the blow from its trunk. Look, an elephant is super strong. I'm not gonna lie. Look at them greeting. Sorry, if we have a look down the road there, Gendre, these ones have just come out of the water, and then that other one went up to greet. So with this small little herd that's pulled up and this other one to our right, there's actually another herd that's behind us as well. We're looking at about 30 elephants here, and sometimes in a scenario like this, what you're seeing is herds that used to be one herd and then got too big and then split and can be related. You can also see scenarios where they're non-related, and I've watched non-related breeding herds chasing each other around dams and having quite a fight. Yes, I think there's more than 30 elephants here. Look at them all coming up. This is absolutely stunning. So, and that female that's walking up the road, straight up the road, is heavy pregnant. So Luke, look, what we're seeing now, do you see the structure of these elephants, how they're coming up in sort of a V formation, the little ones are in the middle? That's one way that they keep predators away from the little one. That trunk, yes, that trunk is very strong, their body structure is very strong, they can get rid of a predator that way, but Mother Nature is very smart and has made nothing invincible. So just because the elephants have this ability doesn't mean that they win all the time. Predators don't always win, prey don't always get away. This right now, if they keep coming up the road, is going to be really great. I just want to be quiet for a minute or two. I want to see if they'll come up nice and close to us. absolute magic. So those Ellies were 3 meters, about 6 foot from Gendre and I. And did you notice when they came up, they stopped, they smelled a little bit. That one, the youngster, was very relaxed, so he nursed from his mom. And then they decided to carry on. Our wind's coming a bit from behind us, so they could smell us and hear us long down the road. But they're just checking. That young elephant you heard just before they came up to the vehicle was in the breeding herd that's behind us that we haven't viewed yet. Their tummy rumbling. And remember, just because we can hear those sounds doesn't mean that those sounds are the only ones they make. They are communicating the entire time through infrasound through their feet, which can travel up to 60 kilometers, 60. And the ones that we hear is just a small subsector. You know, like whale song, and they catalog all that whale song. They're also busy doing it with elephants. So we get asked every now and then about special moments and what's your special moments. Anytime elephants do this is a very special moment. And then Tristan has again another special moment with elephants, with that tiny little baby. So we'd like to send you back over to him so you can enjoy it as well. Very, very, very cool.
It is the most coolest thing you could ever possibly see, and it's very cool now because we've got 3 different species in a row. So you got the waterbuck in front, the impalas, and then the Ellie and its baby, and it gives you an idea of just how small this baby is. It's unfortunately drifted a bit, but you can see it's just over the back, and it's smaller than that male impala, so that'll give you an idea of just how little our baby elephant is. It's still in a fairly open section, so I'm going to still try and keep up with it a little bit. So I'm just going to go around all the grazing animals because I don't want to disturb them either. So we're just going to head round a little bit and just use this nice open clearing to be able to see her for a little bit longer as she kind of drifts. The rest of the herd's tracks is going in this direction, so I wouldn't be surprised that herd that Noelle has might even be the herd for this female and her young one. So maybe, just maybe, if Noelle stays with that herd, these guys, well, these two might catch up towards the end of the afternoon and rejoin. It would be something absolutely incredible if you can follow this female all the way until she rejoins with the herd, because the greeting and the vocalizing and the talking that's going to happen between these Ellies when they come together finally after being apart and this new addition to the herd is just going to be absolutely insane. You'll find that they'll all come in, they're all going to investigate this little one. It's like a new baby in a human family. Everybody wants to come and say hello, everybody wants to make a bit of a fuss about it, and the same thing will happen with this little one. So it's going to be so interesting to follow, and if we can try and get all the way to where that herd is, it would be quite something. Just going to try and just sneak in here to where it's shady, because I think Mom is going to stop in the shade again for a bit. She seems to kind of cross through these sort of more open areas quite fast, and then as soon as it gets shady she starts to relax again and starts to feed. I think she knows that the little one just can't move too far. But look, they're going to come right past us now. That's very cute. Chitty Chatty Meg, how long does an elephant labor last? Longer than most women would like to hear, but 22 months is how long that she's pregnant for, and then her labor, well, her labor can be all the way through a night. Did you hear that? That is amazing. So she's talking, she's trying to probably contact the rest of the herd. So you see, look, her ears are out. So she's using her ears not only because they're big to try and control temperature, but also has satellite discs to be able to hear. So she's pushing those ears out. She's communicating like that, hoping that the rest of the herd communicates back to her. Those big ears trap all those sound waves, funnel it into the ear, and she can hear a lot better. So that is really absolutely incredible to hear and to see. And so she stops now she's going to start moving off. She'll also have sensory cells in her feet and her trunk that would have picked up vibration from the low frequency sound that would have been produced if the rest of the herd responded, and that way she'll then know. And the way that she's now feeding, I think she's content to know that the herd is maybe not too far away. We might not have heard it, but she might have picked up that, okay, they're somewhere close by. it's within touching distance. I don't have to stress too much. I can still feed and stay in this area. Absolutely incredible. And that sound right there is one of my absolute favorite sounds in the whole bush. I love lions roaring. I love hearing a lot of the other animals, but that just sends these kind of goosebumps, and I get my hairs stand on end whenever I hear elephants making that sound. There's just something about it that is just unbelievable, and it's this loud, deep kind of grumble that comes out of their lungs. Absolutely phenomenal, and it really, really makes me happy when I hear that. And I was talking about their labor. Now, their labor can last for quite some time. You can imagine pushing out a, almost 150-pound baby is not exactly that pleasant, or 200-pound baby, should I say, is not exactly that pleasant. And so it does take them, in the experience that I've had and I've seen an elephant give birth, which is probably one of the most amazing things that I've seen, that that particular elephant was in labor she must have been about 3 hours that she was in labor, with the little one starting to dilate and starting to come out. But it can go much longer than that. I've heard of elephants that are going into to start dilating around sunset, and only the following morning is the little one born. So it does take some time, and you can imagine how much distress this female must go through in order to have this little one. At the end of the day, like I said, it's not a small object and it's not a small baby, so she has to really kind of push it out, and there's a lot of sort of trauma that happens and a lot of discomfort, and so it's a very vocal process, and it's a very kind of uncomfortable process, and that's why the whole herd, you'll find, becomes a little bit stressed out during a birth of a little one. But it is just the most special thing to watch that little one go. Where they're going now is starting to get too thick. I don't want to hit trees. She's been so accommodating of us, allowing us these beautiful views of her little baby as it's walked past us. So I think we're going to take our sort of leave, and we're going to leave now and let her carry on with her afternoon. Hopefully this little one will join up with Noelle's herd or somewhere in that general vicinity. I am going to meander down towards Twin Dams, and she is heading down that direction, so maybe we get lucky with her coming out that side. But I just really don't want to be bashing trees behind a little baby. Like I said, we've been so fortunate with the way Mom has treated us already. Let's not overstay our welcome and cause any undue stress in an already kind of hot afternoon. Paula, you're wondering how much sleep an elephant needs. Well, it's dependent on how old they are. The little babies tend to sleep a lot more than the adults. Most elephants will only sleep for sort of 4 or 5 hours a day maximum, and that's broken up into short little shifts of 10 to 15 minutes of sleep throughout the day. You'll find that they'll kind of go and they'll put their head up, in the case of a big adult male, up against a tree, or lie down on a termite mound or on the kind of bank of a river, and they'll sort of have a little 10, 15, maybe even 20-minute nap in those areas, particularly on a hot day like today. And you'll find that they'll have a situation where they'll kind of enjoy that, and then they move off again, and then later in the day again and again and again, and they repeat this process. So they don't actually sleep too much, and not long stints of sleep. The problem with them, and why they can't sleep for long stints, is because they have a situation where they need to feed a lot more. There's a big bulk, they need to process all this food, and so they have a situation where they do need to feed constantly, and sleeping for 6-7 hours like we do as people means that they don't really have the chance. So just saying hello to Tax. So he's going to try and just quickly loop around and see if he can get a glimpse of it. You can imagine being here for your first time in Africa. You've just arrived and you get to see that as one of your first sightings. Absolutely amazing. So those people are in for an absolute treat and are about to be very spoiled by a tiny little cute baby. And also with a baby elephant like that, if taxis are joining, it doesn't make sense to pressure her with 2 vehicles. We'll rather just let one vehicle follow her around